Okay, good morning, guys. How are you doing today? Good morning, online. Online, good morning. Hi, Prashant. Hi, Azam, Yasin, Anisha. Hope everyone are doing good. So, what did we discuss yesterday? EFS. Did you complete it? Practicals? That is easy. How much time it took? Half an hour? 20 minutes, half an hour. Very good. Okay, so how about online? Online, did you complete it EFS? Super. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we'll take up the next service, which is CLI. It's not a service, but it's another way of accessing AWS. Correct? So let's talk about CLI today. Okay. Can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? Hi, Priyanka. Okay, Nana. See here, generally, how many ways that you can access AWS? Two ways. What are those two ways? Console access, programmatical access. Very good. So we have two ways. So you can access AWS in two ways. So one is console, that meaning the GUI, and another one is programmatical access. Programmatical access. Programmatical access meaning through CLI. So how do you log in? How do you log into the console? Using username and then password. And how do you authenticate on CLI? Using super access and secret keys. Very good. So Nana, whatever that you do through console, you can do the same thing. In fact, even more things on CLI. Whatever you do on the console, let's say, for example, what are the things that you have done till now? You have launched an EC2 instance, you create a load balancer, you create a volume, you create whatnot, everything you have done through console. Whatever you did on the console, the same thing can be done through the CLI also. What's the full form of CLI? Command line interface. So that means through commands also you can access AWS. Through commands also you can launch an EC2 instance. So not only through the command prompt, Nana. So programmatical access meaning it can be through CLI or it can be through some SDKs also. No, what is SDK? Software development is. Let's say, can you launch an EC2 instance through Java code? Yes. Can you launch EC2 instance with Python code? Can you launch EC2 instance with .NET code? Yes. So you need to just download AWS SDKs into your tool, and then you can start coding. You can start launching EC2 instance to the code also. So as we don't talk about Java, .NET, Python, etc., all these things, so we'll be taking as an example of CLI. So CLI meaning it is purely command based. So in your laptop also you have command prompt or not? So if you go and put CMD, do you see this? This is a command prompt, right? From here also you can use the AWS commands and then you can launch EC2 instance. Let's see one by one slowly. So first of all, if you want to access CLI, what is the software that you need to install? AWS CLI, fantastic. Which one? AWS CLI. AWS CLI is a small software that you need to install if you want to access AWS, if you want to access AWS through CLI. Okay, there are multiple ways to do it. Let's say you have your own laptop. This is my laptop, desktop. Desktop, this is my Windows or Linux? Windows only, no? On Windows also, can you install AWS CLI? Yes. On Windows also, you can install AWS CLI. So what you need to do is you need to just go to Google and then download AWS CLI. Let's say, for example, I'll show you. Open Google and I call it as download AWS CLI for Windows. And do you see the first one link? If you come down, if you want to install AWS CLI on Linux, these are the things, steps. If you want to install AWS CLI on Mac OS, these are things. And if you want to install AWS CLI on Windows, open this. And do you see this, Nana, here? So there is a file called .awscli.msi file. What is that? awscli.msi. That is an extension, right? .exe is there, .msi is there, something else, star var, everything will be there. So here you just need to click on it. See, click on it and it will get downloaded. Do you see this? AWS CLI. What you need to do is just open it. Open it. I'm installing AWS CLI on Windows. This is how you do it. Double click, open. See, installing it. It's asking, click on next, accept, next, next, and then install. So how you are installing AWS CLI? I'm installing AWS CLI on Windows, So if I use, so from here, if you open the command prompt, I'll increase the size. Okay. So if I put AWS, is recognized? The command AWS is recognized? No, because AWS CLI is not installed. So now I am installing it, right? So now I'm installing it here. Once it is installed, I say yes. Once this is installed, then if you put AWS minus version, AWS software has been, AWS CLI will be installed. Let's see, I'll show you quickly. So this is the way how you install AWS CLI on Windows. Do I need to launch a Windows EC2 instance install over there? Not required. Our laptop itself is Windows, no. For that reason, I have installed on the laptop itself. So installing. Okay, done. Do you see that? Done. Now, if I put here AWS minus version, we need to close this and open it back again. AWS minus version. Do you see that? AWS CLI is installed. Which version? Version 2. We had version 1 also, version 2 also. So latest version we have installed. Do you all understand how to install AWS CLI on Windows now? Okay. That can be your laptop also. That can be your Windows EC2 instance also. Same thing or not? It's same thing. So now we have installed AWS CLI on our Windows laptop. And how do we need to run the commands from here, right? Let's say, for example, I need to launch an EC2 instance. So I need to write a command here, AWS blah, blah, blah command here. But once I install AWS CLI, can I directly run the commands? No. First, what we need to, how do we authenticate? Authenticate through? How do we authenticate CLI? Through keys. Fantastic. Through keys. So that meaning we need to configure the keys here or not first? So on console, you open the AWS console, no? And it asks username and password, and then you log in, put MFA and all, right? But here, once you authenticate there, then only you can log into the AWS console and do all your activities. But here on AWS CLI, how do you authenticate? Through the keys. What keys are those? Access keys and secret keys. And here, I'm configuring it. Let's say, for example, how do we configure? AWS configure. What's the command, Nana? Enter. Once you click on AWS configure, it is asking for what? Access key. If I put, then it is asked for secret key. Yes or no? And then you want to launch all your EC2 instance, you want to access which region? You put the region, Mumbai region. Mumbai meaning, should I put Mumbai or what? AP minus South minus 1, you need to put it. And then it is asking for what? Output. What is that? Output. So basically there are three types of outputs. How many types? JSON, XML, table. Which one? JSON, XML, table. So you, whatever the commands that you have executed, ran here, it has to show the output, no? That output you want to see it in JSON format, XML format, table format. Which one do you like? Huh? You want JSON? Or you want nice table? Table is good. Which one? Table. Because when you, once you execute any command, it clearly in table, it will show this is the result. So whichever in your, based on your requirement, you can put here, whatever the format that you want. That's it. So once you configure this, now you are ready to run the AWS commands from this command prompt. Do you all understood how to set up AWS CLI on Windows and configure the keys on your laptop or Windows machine? Clear, everyone? So write those commands, AWS configure, put the heading AWS CLI setup. AWS CLI setup on Windows. What is the first step? Download and install AWS CLI. Download and install. Download and install AWS CLI v2 dot AWS CLI v2 dot MSI. Okay. Open command prompt. And run the below commands. Open command prompt and run the below commands. What are the commands? Okay. So AWS configure. AWS configure. Write the same thing. Next, AWS access key and put the access key there. You don't need to put just access key colon, leave it. Secret key colon, region name colon, output table or XML or JSON. Clear? Done? Nice. Okay. So this is how you configure. Nana, this is how you configure the keys on Windows also, on Linux also. Installation is different, but configuring the keys are Same. Okay. So now let's come back here. So do you all agree that AWS CLI can be installed on Windows also and Linux also? Yes. I'm writing here. AWS CLI can be installed on Windows and Linux as well. And I showed you how to install for Windows. So for Windows, what you need to install, Nana? AWS CLI v2.msi. You need to download it. On Linux, we need to run a few commands that I'll show you, right? Use commands to install AWS CLI. I'll show you quickly how to install those on Linux. Okay. I'm asking you one question. If I create one IAM user and if I've given the permissions called EC2, can you tell me but this IAM user has two types of access. What are those? Console and programmatic. Console or CLI. Console, he has console and CLI. Can you tell me both has what type of access? Same or different? Same or different? Okay, I'm asking the question again. I created an IAM user called user1 and I have given EC2 permissions for him. So when he opened the console, what kind of permission he has? Which service permissions he has? EC2. And also through CLI also he's doing. What kind of permissions he has? EC2. So console and CLI both has the same permissions or different permissions? Same permissions. Which one? Same permissions. Good. Okay. So now I'm taking one real example here. So now this is your laptop. So this is your laptop. Okay. Your laptop is a Windows laptop or a Linux laptop? Windows laptop. So if you want to access AWS CLI on Windows, you need to install AWS CLI here on your laptop. Yes or no? Okay, that's fine. So now from your laptop, this is AWS, Nana. This is AWS. From your laptop, how many ways that you can access AWS? Two ways. One is console. Another one is programmatic. Two ways are there. Console and programmatic. I'll write it clearly here. One is console, AWS console. And how do? You put username and password, correct? You'll put username and then password while opening your browser. Agree, Nana? This is through AWS console. What is another way? Program. That meaning through command prompt. Yes or no? So from your laptop, you are accessing AWS in two ways. One is through AWS console. Another one is through CLI. Have we done this now? Yes or no? This is my laptop. I open AWS console and you are using it. That is a regular one. And I have installed AWS CLI from command prompt. And from here also, I can run the commands and access AWS services. Agree, everyone? Okay. I showed you how to install AWS CLI on Windows and how to configure keys on Windows. Everyone understood that? Now what I do is I need to install AWS CLI on Linux. That is just getting disturbing, right? So you understand. So I install AWS CLI on Windows, right? And then now we need to install AWS CLI on Linux. In order to install AWS CLI on Linux, we need to launch one EC2 instance, Linux EC2 instance. No. Do we have Linux laptop? No. So if you want to install AWS CLI, what we need to go and launch one Linux EC2. There we will install AWS CLI. Okay, na? So what we do here is we'll go and launch one EC2 instance here. This is the Linux EC2. Okay, so see here carefully. On the Linux EC2 instance also, what do we need to install, Nana? AWS CLI we need to install. Right? Thank you. Right? We need to install what? AWS CLI. On Linux EC2 instance also, we need to install AWS CLI. And if you just install AWS CLI, it is enough. No, what we need to do? We need to configure the keys. Yes or no? We need to configure the keys. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting the keys here. I'm configuring the keys on the EC2 instance. Now you tell me, is it recommended to configure the keys on your EC2 instance? Remember our starting days? Is it recommended to configure the keys on your EC2 instance? No, because the keys will be stored locally into the EC2 instance. If someone has logged into the EC2 instance, what will happen? They will see your keys and they will hack it and they will use behalf of you. Is it recommended to configure the keys on your Linux EC2 instance? Answer is no. So if you don't want to configure the keys, can you access AWS services? No. Configuring the keys are mandatory. That is authentication. If you don't configure the keys, can you access AWS services? No. Then without configuring the keys, I want to access AWS services. What is the concept that we need to use? Excellent. Roles. So configuring the keys on the EC2 instance is a bad way or good way? Configuring keys on the EC2 instance is a good way or bad way? Bad way. So here, this is the bad way. So configuring keys on the EC2 instance is bad way. Don't do it. So configuring keys on the instance is a bad way. So instead, what you need to do, Nana? Launch one EC2 instance nicely. This is also one more Linux EC2 instance, Linux EC2. And there also you need to install AWS CLI. And do you configure the keys here? Do you configure the keys here? Answer is no. Don't configure the keys here. Instead, what you need to attach, Nana? Role. IAM role you created. And let's say from this Linux EC2 instance, I want to access S3. So while creating a role, what kind of permissions I need to give? S3. And this role should be attached to EC2 instance. This role is attached to EC. So if anyone has logged into this EC2 instance, what kind of services he can access? S3. Fantastic. So this is the good way. This is the good way. Is it clear, Nana? Is it clear? So, but what I do is here, I'll show you bad way also, good way also. Now tell me, on your Windows laptop, in your own Windows laptop, do you need to follow good way na bad way na? Think and answer. On your local laptop, would you use good way na bad way na? Huh? Think small. Good way na bad way na? Bad way. Yes or no? Because is it possible to attach role to your laptop? Not possible, no? So there might be a requirement. Sometimes you need to go with the bad way also. But when you're doing within AWS, always you need to go with the good way. And if you're going outside AWS, like in your laptop and all, you need to use the bad way because roles you cannot attach to your laptop. No, for that reason, you need to configure the keys. So here also I'm writing it here. What is the command to configure the keys, Nana? AWS configure, then it is ask access key, then it will ask secret key, then it is ask region name, then it will ask output. So output is JSON or XML or table. So anything you can put it. And region name would be AP South -1. Don't put MUMBAI, Mumbai. Clear? And while doing these practicals, I'll show you where exactly the keys are stored on the Linux machine. Right? I'll show. Remind me. I'll show you, sir. Where are the keys are stored? Just remind me. I'll show you. So now we'll be doing the good way and then bad way also both. So in order to do the bad way, what we need to do, Nana, here? Bad way. How to do the bad way? First, we need to launch an EC2 instance. No. Launch EC2 instance and install AWS CLI configure keys and execute few sample commands. Agree? What's the good way? In good way also, what we need to do? Launch EC2 instance and install AWS CLI configuring keys are attach role and execute few sample commands. Nana, is this clear? See this diagram. If you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, we'll do the practical on this. The first I'll show you the bad way. I'm see this diagram for a minute or half a minute at least. And if you have any questions, please ask. I might forget here. So if you want to see, you need to go to root directory. There is a hidden folder called .aws cat credentials. If you want to see the key on your Linux EC2 instance, that is the path you need to go, but I'll show you. But I'm putting it here so that it will be recorded. See it and let me know. If you have any questions online. Is it clear, everyone? Clearer? Hmm? Online, is this clear? So what we're going to do now as a part of practical? Bad way, we'll do it. So what we do is on Windows, I showed you how to install and configuring keys, you can do it. And what I do is we'll do the bad way. So that first we need to launch a Linux EC2 instance, our normal Red Hat. And then we'll go log in it and then we install AWS CLI. After that, we configure the keys. After that, we'll run some sample commands, like launching the EC2 instance through the command prompt. Okay. And then what you do, you have to do the good way. Good way meaning launch Linux EC2 instance. And instead of configuring the keys, what you need to attach a role. You know how to create a role? And while creating a role, what is a trusted entity? EC2. And what kind of permissions that you give? S3. Not only S3, whichever the services that you want to access from the machine, you can give that permissions and then attach that role to the Linux EC2 instance and run the sample commands. Okay, now ready? Let's go and do the practicals. Hmm. Okay. Should we go and launch one EC2 instance first? Let's go to EC2 and then launch. Okay, launch instance. I call it as AWS CLI demo. Come down, browse, Red Hat. Console is little bit micro. And here we'll go with name batch, edit, and then I'll go with 1A, security group, select this, and then let's go ahead and then launch. So once this machine is ready, what do we do is we log into this machine and then we'll install AWS CLI. To install AWS CLI, do you see this? The same thing we have. So I'll share this link to you. So which one we need to open? Linux or Mac OS or Windows? So open this and then are we using x86 or are we using ARM? x86. Select this and then we need to run these 3 commands. Right? Only these commands. So curl, and then this is the command, this is the URL that you are logging, you are downloading AWS CLI version 2.zip file you are downloading. So curl is the command which is used to access your HTTP URLs from the Linux. And then once you download this zip file, we need to unzip it, no? What's the command to unzip? Unzip and this zip file. And then we need to run this command. Once you run these 3 commands, AWS CLI will be installed on your Linux machine. And then we need to configure what? Keys. Okay. So let's see whether the machine is ready. So let's take the public IP, put it over here. Appearance, I go with bold 18 credentials and a batch. We need to wait or it's work. Oh, it's working. Nice. AC2 minus user sudo minus. Yes. So always be in the root. Okay. Now clear. So So now we are into the Linux machine. So what we need to do now? We need to install AWS CLI. We need to install AWS. How do we do? So open the URL. And here we have we need to copy the first command, no? So curl and the whole line, copy it carefully. Copy it and then paste it here. So what it has to do, if you do ls, the zip file got downloaded or not? The zip file got downloaded, awscli.zip file got downloaded. So this is a zip file. What we need to do? We need to unzip it, no? So what is the command to unzip? Just unzip and this guy, awscli. But it says unzip is not found. That meaning unzip software, unzip, there is a question, but I'll come back. So unzip software is not there. So we need to install unzip. No, what is the command to install any software? Yum install. So yum install minus y, which one? Unzip. So based on the errors, you need to follow it. There will not, okay, there will not be, sir, I executed 3 commands, it's not working. No, it's not like that. So based on the errors, you need to follow. Okay, so it's completed. So what we need to do now? Unzip AWS CLI zip file. Okay, Nana? If I do ls now, do you see that we have the folder directory got created, AWS directory? So what you need to do is next one, run this command. It is installing AWS CLI in the backend. Now done. Do you see that? So in which path this AWS CLI got installed? Say that. Say that. USR local bin. In this directory, the AWS CLI got installed. So if I want to use AWS, I need to use this whole URL, whole path. Otherwise, you can create, you can go into that directory also. You can use directly AWS minus minus version, but you can use like this also. See, now I'm doing AWS. See, install AWS CLI version 2 got installed. Do you all understand how to install AWS CLI on Linux now? No. Clear, everyone? Online, is it clear? And if you want to run any AWS commands, you need to use this full path here. USR local bin AWS minus minus version. So now you have installed AWS CLI. You have installed AWS CLI. What we need to do now next? Configure the keys. So you tell me how to configure the keys. What's the command? AWS configure. Enter. AWS is working here. No, what we need to do? I need to use the full path, no? AWS meaning this path. AWS configure. Enter. It is asking for what? Access key. From where do I get my access key? Yeah, we can go to that part also. Azam. Where should I get the key? I users. No guidance is required for us. Security credentials. Create access key. For CLI we need. Next, create keys. Copy, paste it. Enter. It is asking for secret key. Copy, paste it. Enter. It is asking for region name. What? Tell me that. AP minus South minus 1. Next is asking for output. Table. Done. Do you all understand how to configure the keys now? Now this machine is now ready to access AWS services. So now these keys are whose account keys, Nana? Is my account keys only or not? This account called RIA. And RIA has what kind of permissions? Admin permissions. That meaning the same keys I have configured. That meaning I have full permissions also here. Yes. Based on the permissions that you have, so the same permissions will be there for your keys also. Clear? So now what we need to do, we need to run some few sample commands. So what are the few? What I did was to make you easy. I have put that in. Okay. So just replace with. Okay. So these are the sample commands that I made you. I'll share this notepad to you so that you can practice it. So first of all, before I go here, generally you have launched EC2 instances many times, no? Can you tell me what are the options that you give? Name, AMI you need to select. Instance type you need to select T2 micro. Key pair you need to select. Security groups you need to select. Subnet you need to select. Volumes are default. Do we select any volumes? No. So there are so many options available while launching the EC2 instance. But do we need to select each and every option? Not really. There are few things, few are mandatory. There are few things which you can just ignore it. That meaning it will take by default. Like volumes. Do we configure any volumes? Do we create any volumes? No. By default, it has 8 GB or 30 GB or 10 GB, it will come. Right. And all the rest of the things are few default, but few things are very important, like selecting an AMI, selecting the instance type, selecting the subnet. So these are important. Key pair, selecting key pair, these are really important. So while launching, if you want to launch an EC2 instance from the CLI also, you need to list all the commands in EC2. all the properties of EC2. So whichever you require, you select that property. So now if you ask, sir, how do I know what property I need to select? Say here, this is AWS. Which service? EC2. What is the command to launch an EC2 instance? Run minus instances. Say that. In interview or in certification questions, they don't ask the whole big command. They'll just ask, what is the command to launch an EC2 instance? You should say run minus instances or run hyphen instances. So run hyphen instances, and then we need to give the image ID, no? We need to say, give the image. Image ID. You know how to get the image ID? Tell me. Do you know how to get the image ID? For every image, you will have image ID. For every snapshot, you have snapshot ID. For every volume, you have a volume ID. So the image that you are selecting is which image? While launching the EC2 instance, which image you select? Red Hat only, no? Do you know the AMI ID of Red Hat? How do you know? See here. So go back here. When you click on launch instance, come on. So here, generally you click on browse, no? And then here you select a free tier, no? And if you come down, do you see this AMI ID here? Yes or no? So I'm copying that AMI ID. x86 or ARMI you need to copy. x86. And then paste it over here. You understand? And then how many citizens that you want to launch? One. Can you launch 10 also? Yes. Instance type. Instance type parameter is which one? Value is T2 micro. Key name. 9name badge. Security group ID. Do you know how to select the security group ID? What is where do you get the security group ID? In security group, select the security group. Select this. And do you see the group ID here? Or else this is the group ID. Copy it to B3. This one. And subnet ID. Do you know how to get the subnet ID? Huh? So while launching the EC2 instance, you get the subnet ID, no? Click on launch instance. So this is only one time that you need to select. Next time you copy the same, and how many times you want to launch, you can launch it. Okay, do you see this here? Edit. And do this subnet ID, right? A66089CE, 89CE. So do I have the same thing? 89C. So enough. So in order to launch an EC2 instance, minimum these are enough. But can you keep on adding volumes also here? Parameters? Yes. But if you know, sir, how do I know the parameters? Guys, in Google, we have the documentation where we always follow launch AWS CLI launch instance. Do you see? What is this? Run minus instance. So we have the command line reference. We have it. So here, do you see the parameters here? Run minus instance parameters are these many are there. So whichever you require, you need to select that and give the value. So here, what are we selected? Did we selected image ID? Did we select instance type? And we have selected the key name. And we have selected the security group. Say subnet ID, we have selected. And if you want, you can pass user data also. You can use EBS also. You can use whatnot. So many things. Whichever you require, you can go for it. You understand? In real time also, we will be using this reference, and then you need to frame your commands. Okay. And if you want to see some example how to do it, I'm coming down. Such a big example. Where's example? Example. Global options. Do you see this here? This is the command. Can you tell me? AWS, which service is this? EC2. Run minus instance, I mean what it is doing? Launching the EC2 instance, image ID you're giving, instance type you're giving, key name you're giving, and then enter. And then EC2 instance will be launched. You're getting it. So whichever the parameters is required for you, and the output is in which format? This is a JSON format. You can see the table also. So should we go and run the one sample this one? Okay. So I am taking this command. Okay. And then putting it in the here. Enter. If I enter, what will happen? EC2 instance will be launched. Enter. Do you see that? And what the output is in which format? Table format. See, this is the output. So these are all output. Do you see this? All the information, this is IP address. And if you go here to our EC2 instance, and if I refresh it, do you see? Just now one more new EC2 instance got launched through CLI. How easy? So if you want to automate, and if you want to do it quickly, fast, so can you use CLI to do it? No, everyone understood? Everyone understood, right? How to launch an EC2 instance? How to launch an EC2 instance? You understood? Not only EC2 instance, anything you can do it. Let's say, for example, how to stop an EC2 instance? What is the command to stop an EC2 instance? Stop hyphen instances. If you want to stop EC2 instances, you need to have instance ID or not? Yes. So I'll show you how to do it. This is instance ID, right? I copy the instance ID. I put it over here, right? And then I'll go and stop it. See, I'll go and stop it. Clear. Enter. See, what is the state now? Stopping. So if I go and refresh, see, machine is getting stopped. How fast? Otherwise, you need to select to right click, click on this. Or do you see this now? New one. Was it there before? See how this nasty fellow is doing, right? So 4 steps. Sometimes, because I understand this. Sometimes basically, hibernate there, it's there. So hibernate we discussed, no? Sleep mode. So sometimes I also saw many times like when you are stopping the EC2 instance, it will not stop. It will take time. So for that, 4th stop is there. See, stopped. Do you see now 4th stop is not. So when it is in stopping state, then that state came up. Correct? You understood? Yeah. Okay, Nana. So this is stop. So you understood how to stop an EC2 instance now? And how to start it again? What is the command to start? Start hyphen instances. You need to put the instance ID. How to terminate? Terminate minus instances and put the instance ID. And tell me what is this doing? Creating tags for what? For whom? For the EC2 instance. So let's say, for example, do we have any tag here? Should we put the tag? How? For that, what you need to do is you need to have the instance ID. So put the instance ID over here. And keys name value is CLI demo new. So take this and put it over here. Done. If I refresh, do you see the tag came up? CLI demo new. Understood? You're getting it? Okay. So now tell me, what is this doing? Because it doesn't make any sense if I go and run one by one and show it to you, because you can do it by yourself. So I'm just make you understand the commands. Tell me, what is that doing? Creating a, I don't like that. Only creating. It is not only creating only. Tell me clearly, fully. Creating how many volumes? Size 10 GB. Yeah? Okay. So creating a volume of 10 GB size in which region? Mumbai region, which availability zone? 1A, which type? So we created a volumes now from console. From here, you can create a volumes like this. And this one, attaching. If you want to attach the volume to any of the EC2 instance, you need to have the volume ID and instance ID or not? Yeah. And then how you're in, so this is a root volume or additional volume? This one is a root volume or additional volume? Additional volume. Very good. This one is for, this one is for, this one is for creating a. So from where do you create an image? What is the source? You want to create an image. From where do you create an image? EC2 instance, no? So you need to give the instance ID of that where you want to create an image. What is this? What meaning de-register meaning? Deleting the image. This one? Deleting a snapshot. Can you create a snapshot also? You understand? So like this, I listed few commands here. Now, sir, how to create a load balancer? Did I list the command here? If I keep on listing, you will get 3, 4, 5, this much booklet, you will get it. Right? So in real time, if you want to create a load balancer, you need to get the reference here. So come back, create load balancer. Do you see this here? Go for the reference here. And these are all the parameters it has. Ignore it. Go bottom. You'll see an example. You take that example and then change it. Do you see this here? Do you see the example here? AWS. Which service is this? ELB. And what's the command to create a load balancer? Create load balancer. Load balancer name is my load balancer. Listeners protocol is which protocol? HTTP. On port number 80. And while creating a load balancer, you need to select a subnet. No, 1A, 1B. Select it and give the security group and then hit it. Can you take this and modify according to your requirement? Yes. Understood. So like this, okay. Do you remember this? Okay. Don't see that command. Don't see that URL. Do you remember I teach you one URL? If you want to see the metadata through CLI, http://169 dot 2, what is that? 2. Uh, Tell me. 169, 254. You are telling me or I am telling you? Huh? Tell me that you don't remember. Huh? That is song I told you, no? 169, 254. Only 254. Okay, see here. So 169, 254, 169, 254 slash latest slash meta minus data. Right? Okay. See here. And now tell me, command. 169, 254, 169, 254 slash latest slash meta minus data. So basically, if you want to know the metadata of the EC2 instance, generally from console, how do we get through the detail section? No. But if you want to get it through the CLI, you can get it like this. See here, for example. Let's say I'm on my EC2 instance. I want to know the IP address of this EC2 instance. Generally, through console in detail section, we'll get the IP address, no? But how do we get it from the CLI? We need to use this URL. So take this URL, put it, enter. And do you see all the parameters you got? And if you want to know the IP address, do you see local IPv4? Local IPv4 meaning public IP or private IP? Local meaning private IP. So use this command at the end. You put here local minus IPv4 at the attach it, enter. Do you see the IP address? We got it here. Similarly, if you want to get the public IP, what is the parameter you should use? See this and tell me. Public IPv4. Enter it. And do you see the public IP? You got it. And if you want to know the which AMI ID it is using, use this command at the end. What you need to put? AMI minus ID. And do you see this AMI ID which is using? So if you want to get the information about this EC2 instance, so you need to use the URL from the CLI. So when this will be useful is, let's say, for example, developers is writing some script. They are executing some script in this machine, and the script needs the information of this instance in the runtime. Can you use this URL and get the information? Understood? Right? So this is curl command. I told you already, Priyanka, curl command. If you want to use HTTP in the command, you need to use the curl. Curl will help to get information from my HTTP URLs. Okay. So I have given EC2 and few commands from S3. Okay, now tell me, this is AWS. Which service? What is MB meaning? Mahesh Babu. Make bucket. What is that? Make bucket. So make bucket meaning creating a bucket. Remember, when I'm teaching S3, I told you URI. Remember? URL is different, URI different. And I told URI will be used in the CLI. Do you remember that? So here the same thing here, S3:// this is the URI. Let's say, for example, I want to create a bucket, Nana. How do you create a bucket? So take this one, AWS. Which service? S3. What is the command to create a bucket? MB. And how do you use S3 here? S3:// and I call it as 9 a.m. test CLI demo BKT. In which region you want to create? Mumbai. Do you see? Enter. Bucket created. If I go to S3, bucket has been created. S3 here. You see one bucket might have created. Do you see this? Done? So you know, understood how to create a bucket through the CLI. So I'm giving command by command. So can you combine all this command and make a script if required? In future, not now. Okay. Now tell me, what is this doing? Tell me. Creating a bucket in another region. Okay. This one. What is MV meaning? Move. MV meaning move. Moving which file? Text.txt to where? To the bucket. So that meaning test.txt is a local file or not? So can we say that moving from uploading local to S3? From your laptop, you are uploading to S3. So here you are copying or moving? Moving. So do you know understand the difference between copy and move? Move meaning control X. Copy meaning control P. Control C. So basically, when you use move, your source will be deleted and in the destination it will be there. When you use copy, source will also be there, destination will also be there. Do you understand? Okay, let me give an example. So ls, let's say, for example, here I create a file, a touch test.txt file. Okay, there is a file. Now I want to move this file to upload this file to S3 bucket. How? Let's use the command. AWS S3 MV move. Which file? test.txt file to where? S3 colon slash slash this bucket. This is the bucket now we have created. Okay. Done now. If I do ls, do I have my text.txt locally? Is there? No. So it is moved to where? In the bucket. So if you go here and go inside it, and I should have my text.txt. But do I see that here in my local? No. But if I use CP instead of move, if I use CP, local will also be there, in destination also will be there. Understood? No? So these are the commands. So remember, if you don't have anything here before S3, that means it is local. If you have S3 colon slash slash, meaning it is S3. If you don't have anything, mean it is local. And now tell me, what is this doing? Moving one bucket to what you're moving? Moving the object from one bucket to another bucket. This one? Moving the object from I want exact. Moving the object from S3 to local. I told you this. If you don't have anything, that means it's a local file. Can you say it is downloading now? S3 to local. So you are downloading test.txt as a test2.txt in my local. So this one is uploading. Uploading meaning test.txt will be in front. Downloading meaning test.txt will be in the last. So from this is source, this is destination. Okay. This one. So basically, what is a recursive meaning? Recursive meaning, let's say you create a bucket. Inside it, you have subfolders, no? So if you want to move all these things, you need to use recursive. Recursive represent all subfolders. So here, dot represent what? Your local directory. So you are moving all the objects inside this bucket to your local directory, all meaning all subfolders. And you tell me this here, moving a directory, this is local or S3? Local. So local to S3, that meaning you're uploading or downloading? Uploading. So you're uploading all the files except JPG files. Do you understand how to, right? So like this, Nana, for copy I have given, so removing the buckets I have given. Should we remove the bucket one just we created? So how to remove the bucket? Okay, see, generally if you want to delete the bucket, you need to empty the objects, no? But here you can do very nicely. See, AWS S3, remove bucket. RB, which bucket is this? S3 9am bucket. If I put minus minus force, hyphen hyphen force, bucket is deleted directly. You're getting it? So I have given, you can sync it. Sync meaning what? From your local to S3, you can sync it. From S3 to local also, you can sync it. Right? And then you can set up a static website also through the command prompt, CLI. So I have given so many examples for you. And what you need to do is take this as a reference and then start practicing all these commands. Okay. Instead of my bucket, you need to give your own bucket name, unique name. Otherwise, my bucket will not get created. You understand? No, everyone online, is this clear? How to execute, how to use the CLI in multiple ways, and then how to do it, how to execute the commands. So not only this, anything, if you have the command, you can execute from the CLI. Clear? So will you able to do this practical? So I showed you the bad way. Can you do it the good way? Good way is even more easier. You need to configure, you need to do AWS configure on the machine. No. And by the way, I told you I will be showing you where is the key. Where are the keys? Huh? Where, go to CD root directory, tilde meaning what? Root slash dot AWS, not AWS. It is dot AWS. Dot represent hidden file. In Linux, dot represent hidden file. So enter, do ls. Do you see this here? Credentials files are there. Cat credentials. Do you see that bloody access key, secret key clearly? Is it good? For that reason, you need to use the concept called roles. So what you need to do is, I'll write that also for you. I show you the good way, no? Bad way, you need, sorry, I showed you the bad way. Good way, you need to do like this. What is step number 1? Launch EC2 instance. Step number 2, install AWS CLI. Step number 3, create a role and attach to EC2 with what policy? S3 and EC2 permissions. Okay. Number 4, attach attach this role to the EC2 instance. Number 5, log in to the EC2 instance and run the CLI commands. So here I clearly write, you no need to configure keys because you are using roles. Okay. So the task for you here is, you need to do the bad way, obviously. You need to do the good way and from your own laptop. That meaning from Windows also, you need to run the commands. Guys, you understood the last one. Bad way, good way, I showed you from I ran the commands from the EC2 instance. No, can you run the commands from your local laptop from the command prompt? From here also you can run. In your local laptop, you need to configure the AWS configure keys. You need to configure and then run the sample commands. Launch EC2 instances. Nana, is this clear, everyone? Hmm? Online, is this clear? There is a question while setting up policy for a role, should we give all permissions, sir? No. From EC2 instance, what are the services that you want to access? Give only those. Like S3, EC2 permissions you can give. Because from the Linux EC2 instance, you are launching another EC2 instance, no? For that reason, for the role, what kind of permissions you need to give? EC2 and then S3. And this role need to be attached to EC2 instance. Guys, everyone understood CLI? Any questions? Do you feel difficult? No. And if you just go and start practicing, it will be easy. But the commands that I'll be sharing that notepad to you, right? And use that and then start practicing the commands. Okay. Take the screenshot. So Tomorrow, what we're going to do is for your batch, the services that I have committed, of course, I'll be teaching those. But you know, right, all the time, I'll give you extra. Do you know that? I always give extra to you, extra topics, extra features. And like this, tomorrow I'll be giving you another service which is not discussed as a token of, yes. So basically, a new service I'll be teaching you. Okay. Okay. Na? Guys, actually, that is not in our syllabus. Okay. But what I did was, as I did recently also in real time, so that will be really helpful for you in the real time when you're doing it. For that reason, I'm taking a new service which is not committed, but I'm teaching you that as well. Okay. Na? Which service? I'll tell you tomorrow. Because today, if I say that service, what you do? You go in Kelikify, no? So if you Kelikify, what will happen? Unnecessary, you'll get confused. For that reason, I don't tell. So tomorrow, you learn it from me. Okay, once you're done with it, please go ahead and then terminate everything. Super. And the keys that I have generated need to be deleted. Otherwise, that is there in the recording and you'll be using it. Nice. Okay, Ma. Can you give the final CC for today, please? Online CC with smile. So guys, are you guys up to date with the practicals? There are so many practicals that we are doing nowadays, correct? So please complete all your practicals. If you have any questions on the practicals, I'm there or mentors are also there to help you. Okay, na? Please don't stack it up. Don't stop doing the practicals. Okay. Okay, Nana. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next service. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.